Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to draft a three-part corset top. So this pattern can be used to make this beautiful top you are seeing on your screen. So guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So let's jump right into the video. So we'll be starting with the front panel. I have my pattern paper here. It's in a fold already. So this is the closed angle. So the first thing is to draw out a starting line at the top of your paper. So go ahead to draw out a starting line at the top of your paper. So this line is going to serve as our shoulder line where we'll be taking all our vertical measurements from. So from this line now, I'm going to take my tape rule and place it on it to mark my remaining measurements. So from the shoulder to my bust point is 10 inches. And from my shoulder to my under bust is 13.5 inches, and to the full length of the top, which is 18 inches, then I'll add 1 inch to it, making 19 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 19 inches as the full length of the top. So I'll go ahead now and draw out horizontal lines on this point. So after extending the lines, this is what we have. So right now, I'll go ahead to just label it. So the first line is my shoulder line, my bust line, under bust, and my waistline, which is the full length of the top. So I'll go over now to my shoulder line and mark my shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches for me. And then I'll come down from that point by my round armhole measurements divided by 2, which is also 8 inches. So what I'm going to do now is take my ruler and extend this line horizontally. So I'm going to label this line as my chest line. So right now, just connect my 8 inches mark down to meet my chest line. Just connect the 2 points together this way. So, so I'll come over to my armhole line and take my shoulder slope. So I'll come down by 1 inch on my armhole line, and then I'll take my ruler and connect it to meet my shoulder line, as you can see me doing in the video. And then I'll take the center point of this line, which is about 3.5 inches, and then I'll come over to my chest line and mark my bust measurements divided by 4, my round bust, which is 10.5 inches. And then I'll take my ruler and connect the 3 points together to form my armhole curve. So after connecting the 3 points together, this is what we have. So I'll go over to the other side and just form a simple neckline. So what we're trying to achieve here is just a basic bodice before we move to the corset proper. The next thing to do now is to place our dart measurement. So your dart measurement is your nipple to nipple measurements divided by 2. For me, I have 4 inches. So I'll go ahead now and mark it on all the lines, just as you can see me doing in the video, and then I'll take my ruler and connect the points together. So after connecting the 3 points together, this is what we have. So I'll just come over to this upper part and measure what I have there. I have 4.5 inches there. So I'll go ahead to take the center point, which is about 2.25 inches. So I'll mark it out, and then I'll take my ruler and connect it to meet my dart line, just as you can see me doing in the video. So this is what you should have as well. So I'll come over now to my bust line and come down by 1 inch, and then I'll go to my under bust line and take 0.5 inches on both sides. Then I'll just take my ruler and extend this line downwards. So I'll extend it this way, and then I'll connect it to meet my bust point, as you can see me doing in the video. So after connecting the points together, this is what we have. So right now I'll go over to my chest line and come in by 0.5 inches. This is the gap that I'll be having between our cups. So I'll go ahead and measure what I have between my bust line and my under bust. For me, I have 3.5 inches. So I'll place that 3.5 inches up from my bust point. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll take 3.5 inches from my bust point on this line. So from this line, I'll take 0.5 inches on one side, the side where I have the open angle of my pattern paper, and on the closed angle, I will take 1 inch. So I'll just go ahead and use my curved ruler to connect it to meet my bust point. Just follow what I'm doing in the video. It is very, very simple. So I'll just connect it this way. So after connecting the point, we have our darts drawn out already. So I'll just take my curved ruler and connect my dart point to meet the 0.5 inch I marked earlier. Just follow what I'm doing in the video, and I'll connect the other side to meet the dart on the under bust line this way. So I'll go over to the other side, and I'll just take what I have here and look for the midpoint. Just take the midpoint there, and then I'll use my curved roller to connect it to meet the second dart point. To meet it this way, and I would connect it to meet the lower part as well. So guys, we have our cups beautifully drafted out already, as you can see. So because it's a three-part corset, I will come over to this point, and then I'll come down by 2 inches. I'll go to this other side and come down by 2.5 inches. And then I'll go to the other side and mark 2 inches as well. So I'll take my curved ruler now and connect all the points together. I'll connect the first part together this way. So you can decide to come down by 3 inches depending on how you want your three-part corset to be. So this is what we have after connecting the points together. So just go ahead and fill in these parts this way. So after drafting out the corsets, the next thing is to place our round body measurements. So I'll come over to the chest line now and place my bust measurements divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches. Then I'll go ahead and mark the dots I have on the chest line. I have about 0.9 inches, so I'll just take 1 inch for that, making 11.5 inches. And I'll go ahead to add 1.5 inches for my seam allowance, making 13 inches. So I'll be marking 13 inches on the chest line and on the bust line. So on the waistline, I'll mark my waist measurement divided by 4, which is 9.5 inches. Then I have a dart of 1 inch, making 10.5 inches. And I'll go ahead to add my 1.5 inch seam allowance, making 13 inches. So I'll go ahead to connect the 2 points together. After doing that, the next thing we want to do is to cut it out. So I'll start by cutting out the basic bodice pattern we drafted out before I move to the corset part. So I'll just cut it out this way first. So after cutting out the basic bodies, I'll go ahead to cut out the corset. So right now I'll go ahead to cut out my corset. So just follow and watch closely what I'm doing. Just watch how I'm going to cut out my cups. So I'll go ahead and open up my dart point. So just follow exactly what I'm doing in the video to avoid any mistake. So remember that while cutting these patterns on your fabric, you're going to add half an inch to all the parts, including the cups. So you add half an inch all around it as you're cutting on your fabric. So after cutting out, this is what you should have. So after cutting out, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and join the upper parts together to form one piece. So I'll just use my masking tape to join the two pieces together to form one, so that when I'm cutting on my fabric, it's going to just be one piece. So this is what we have. So this is basically all for the front part of our corset, the front panel. So I'll go ahead to call this first cup my cup 1, my cup 2, and 3. So this is the center front and these are the sides. This is just to make it easy when cutting on my fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and use this front panel to cut out my back panel. So for the back panel, I have my pattern paper already. It's in a fold of 2. So I have my zipper allowance there because we're using zip for this top. I took out 1 inch for zipper allowance for the back panel, as you can see. So I went ahead to use my pins to secure the front panel on it, and I make sure I took out the same 1 inch that I have on my front panel. So I'll just go ahead and mark out the points this way, and I'll just use dotted lines to connect this point, just as you can see me doing in the video. Just trace it out this way, and just trace it out this way. So what I'm going to do now is to remove my front panel from the back panel. Just going to go ahead to remove it so I can cut it out. So after removing our front panel, this is what we have. So because I want the neckline to be lower at the back, I'll come to the center back, the point where I have my zip, and come down by 1 inch. And then I'll take my ruler and connect it to meet the other edge of my back panel, forming a slant. I want it slanted this way. So we're going to discard these dotted lines, and when we are cutting, we'll cut from the other line. So I'll just go ahead now and mark my dart point. So when I'm cutting this, I'm going to cut out to the end of the top. I'm not going to stop here because I understand what I'm saying. I'm just marking this out for me to know where my dart point is. When I'm sewing on my fabric, I'm going to cut it to the upper part of this top. So I'll come over to the zip line and take in 0.5 inches, and then I'll take my ruler and connect it to meet the upper part of the top. So I'm doing this to avoid zip bulge at the back on the waist point. Just connect it this way if you are using zipper for yours, but if you are using loop, you don't need the zipper allowance. In fact, you still need to take out from the back panel. So just go ahead and connect it to meet the neck point. So the next thing we want to do is to cut this out. So I'll just go ahead and cut out my back panel. So I already went ahead to open up the zipper point. I divided the pattern paper into 2 on the zipper point area. So guys, after cutting out the front and the back panels, this is what we have. This is what you should have as well. So I'll be using these patterns to cut on my fabric, and I'll be showing you guys how to join it in my next video. So this is where we'll be ending this video for today. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.